presence of snow. Fortunately for us, a mountaineer had been there before us. We could see a set of footprints in the deep snow and singular holes in the snowbank on the high side of the mountain, where no doubt a hiking stick had been used. We carefully placed our feet in the footprints and our fingers in the holes as we picked our way across the ledge. After a few perilous yards along the cliff's edge, the path turned steeply upward, ascending up the snow-covered mountainside. The footprints continued, and we turned to climb them like a ladder, hugging the side of the mountain. At this moment, something suddenly began to shift for Ben and me. My internal energy gauge began to plummet. My lungs struggled for air, and my limbs, in addition to being wet and cold from the snow, began to feel heavy. Each heave of my body upward required an enormous expenditure of energy. At the midway point, I glanced up at Ben and watched his head collapse with exhaustion into the snow. He was feeling it too. But this was not the moment to stop. So we heaved ourselves up several feet, finally reaching the thin, rocky path above. From there, we followed the marked route around a corner, only to find another corner ahead, and another, and another, and after what felt like an eternity, we rounded yet another corner and saw before us another steep incline through the snow. At the sight of it, Ben dropped to the ground. I half-heartedly tried to spur him on, but then crumpled down next to him on the trail. We were exhausted, depleted, nauseous, and stuck. After a few moments of listening to the wind whistle through the mountain range below, our prayer acknowledging our stupidity began. Then it happened. For a split second, while Ben was praying and I was looking around in desperation, I saw a human head pop out from behind a boulder. It was so fast I wondered if I'd imagined it. Am I hallucinating? Has it gotten that bad? Our prayer ended. We sat in silence and watched the world from above. And then from behind another boulder, the head arrived, attached to a person. The mountain man made his way over to us and struck up a conversation. "Hey guys," he shouted, his high-volume positivity a stark contrast to our complete despair. We grunted a response. Undaunted by our lack of enthusiasm, he continued, "Great day to hike. You guys been to the top yet?" Then, without waiting for us to answer, he surveyed us briefly and remarked, "Wait a second. You're the college guys who came up here without equipment. We heard about you. We're in awe of you guys. You're crazy." He then returned to his original question. "You been to the top?" I responded by telling him we had not, and were not planning to. He found this to be unbelievable. "You have to go. Come on, guys." And at this point, I could tell that his relentlessly upbeat attitude was starting to grate on Ben. So I stood up on my wobbly legs and sidebarred our conversation. I whispered to him, "We're not doing well. We are totally exhausted. There's no way we can go any further." And my admission of our frailty changed his demeanor. I remember him staring down at my hands. I had them wrapped in my soaking wet sleeves, trying to get them warm. "Wait a minute," he replied. Then he set down his pack and produced 2 pairs of mittens. Well, mittens is really not quite the right word. They're coverings for your hands, but they extended up to the elbow and had multiple straps that could bind them tightly to your forearm. "Put these on," he said, handing them to us. And Ben and I eagerly put on these mittens and felt the exquisite relief as warmth returned to our fingers. The mountain man continued to parent us. "Well, first things first, gentlemen, you're breathing wrong." And that surprised us. Of all our problems on the mountain, knowing how to breathe did not seem to be one of them. I'd always considered breathing to be an involuntary action that did not require conscious management. He noted our looks of skepticism that implied, "I think we know how to breathe, man." I'll never forget his next words. He told us, "You're in a new environment. The atmosphere's changed. You have to adapt if you want to survive." The atmosphere's changed. I think about that moment often as I survey the cultural landscape of our world today. Shifts in the atmosphere of society have had a profound impact on our vibrancy and the way we interact with God, each other, and even ourselves. Because these changes are simply in the atmosphere, we can't always see them, but we feel them. And recent data backs this up. There's something about modern life that does not promote human flourishing. Anxiety and depression, particularly among young people in the United States, has been consistently on the rise since 2008. Recent data collected from a joint study by the U.S. Census Bureau and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention indicate this. During August 2020 through February